First of all, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers are with the Meyer family and Joey Meyer and what he meant to this program. And DePaul basketball wouldn't be what DePaul basketball is, was, in the tradition that it has without Joey Meyer and all that he did for this program. So I'd like to say that first of all. On to the game. I thought our guys did a solid job against a very scrappy Chicago State team. It's a team that has some really good players, some really tough guys to defend one-on-one. And I thought our guys did a really good job of locking in and following the scouting report and really, fighting it defensively. Anytime you hold a team to 34% from two, 11% from three, you're going to give yourself a chance to win the basketball game. So really proud of the effort that these guys have had over the course of the last 72 hours, coming back after Christmas, the focuses that they've had, and just trying to continue to get better.
Questions for KT and Elijah?
KT, you kind of provided a spark off the bench there. You kind of had that 9-0 run earlier there in the first half. Can you just talk about your mindset heading into the today's game and kind of what you're able to bring off the bench with your shooting?
I just stay locked into what coaches tell me all the time. Stay ready to shoot. That's really my role around this team. So I try to stick to it and play it to the fullest that I can and help my teammates.
Then Elijah, I know when we've spoken in the past, you've really mentioned how important like defense is to you, and how it's something that you really pride yourself off of, and just the team as a whole. Can you kind of just speak of the defense that you guys kind of had out there tonight? 34% from the field. I think that might be a season high. So kind of just speak of the mindset and just speak of like what it kind of meant today.
It meant a lot just for the defense that we played because we harped about it a couple of days before going into the game, saying that we got to be aggressive and fight. And we were able to execute the game plan and did what we did on defense. So it was great for us, and it's a great step for the next game.
Anything else for the players? All right, thank you guys.
Then, Coach, I know you just spoke about Joey Meyer to start off the press conference, but I guess what kind of like impact, I guess, did it kind of have? Like, what was the message to the team knowing that how important of a game? Like, this wasn't just like a normal game. So I would say, what did this win mean compared to like just a normal victory, knowing the amount of impact that Joey Myers had on the community, not just in DePaul, but in all of Chicago sports?
Well, it's like I told our guys, you're playing for something that's much bigger, for what he's done for this program, what he's done for this city, and what they did for DePaul basketball. First, obviously, his dad and when he took over, but even with success, his dad had played a major role on that, from a coaching standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint. And Coach Meyer, Joey Meyer, was one of the first people I reached out to when I got this job, and he was kind and gracious enough to me to tell me, the odds and ends of this job and what DePaul basketball meant to him, to this city, and, how we can try to get this back. So, again, we're working to get them days back.
Coach, you just talked about kind of your conversations with Joe, but can you just maybe talk about any advice he gave you about kind of building the program back and kind of his experiences, coaching and recruiting in Chicago?
He made some key points. Like he said, it's not going to happen overnight. Things have changed. The landscape has changed in college basketball, but he thought it was a great opportunity. He thought from a recruiting standpoint of getting guys to Chicago, being to try to recruit the city, even recruiting nationally, that would be able to turn it. Playing in a league like the Big East was a little bit more challenging than what it was back in the day, but he thought that we could get those days back here. And what he really prided on just how much the city of Chicago, how much the fans would get behind it if we got it going in the right direction.
Coach, in that second half, Jeremiah Oden got a layup, and you got pretty much excited and fired up. Can you talk about that moment, what it meant for you all?
We needed to get J.O. going a little bit, and I think that got J.O. going. He needed to see a basket go down for him. So I really think that got J.O. going, and more so sharing the basketball. we had 19 assists, and that's how we got to score. We got to be able to make plays for one another. So I think our guys did a great job of sharing the basketball, making the defense guard 3 or 4 sides, going inside out, and I think that opened up some shots for us on the perimeter.
Specifically in the first half, Chicago State scored 20 points in the paint. How do you decide on whether to play man or zone defense?
We just kind of go with the flow of the game. And, they were doing a good job scoring in the paint, but, we gave up too many offensive rebounds. That's what helped them get a lot of those points in the paint. So our physicality has still got to improve, and we got to do a better job of blocking out and then going to get the basketball.
And then, Coach, obviously the season was off to a very rough start, but as you kind of conclude this homestand, you guys went 2-2. How would you kind of just summarize it and just summarize the growth that you guys made and what kind of impact that could have as the season progresses now that non-conference is over and it's just Big East the rest of the way?
Well, first of all, we just got to continue to get better. That's the biggest thing. But these guys have come back from Christmas break with the right mindset. We've had some really hard practices over the course of the last 3 days, and now it's on the Yukon. It's going to be on to a higher level. We got to lock back in here tomorrow and Monday and get ready for a tough road trip in the Big East. But we got a chance, but we got to do it collectively as a team. We got to defend collectively as a team, and we got to share the basketball.
And I know you shared some advice that Joey passed on to you. Do you have a personal memory with Joey that you can share?
Ooh, a personal memory. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have one necessarily, but just the conversations he had about the success they had. And, when you hear people talk about having 18, 19,000 people at games and the buzz around the city, it gives you chills. So just the stories that he was sharing with me about how they got this, when they got the program, when he worked for his father, when he got the job, and just how much the city of Chicago will get behind you if we can get it turned and going in the right direction.
Coach, obviously Yukon is next on the road. Obviously, it's a pretty big step up in class compared to.
You think?
Potentially. Could you just talk about, early on what you've seen from Yukon and kind of what are some of the keys you guys are going to need to do to, come away with the victory on Tuesday?
I'm being very serious when I say I really take this one game at a time. I can't get beyond ourselves. We had to win today. But, I have watched Yukon play, obviously, over the course of the year. They're talented. They're very well coached. They were the national champions. They got a chance to win another national championship. So we're going to have to be really, really locked in a very hostile environment and go out there and compete for 40 minutes and give ourselves a chance to win.
Coach, just last question from me. Caleb Murphy, I believe, was available for today's game. Do you have an update on him? And is this kind of a lingering injury, kind of like what he experienced a year ago?
He's ready. He's ready. He's had a couple good days of practice, and that's me. I got to be able to find the minutes for Caleb. But he is ready. We got more depth. We probably can play a little different way now with all of our guys being available for now. But he was ready and available to go into that game tonight if we needed him today. Happy New Year. Thank you, guys.